What's a big industry secret that isn't supposed to be known by the general public? I work at a hospital in an area where there are lots of hospitals. Our has an EMT lounge with free slushes, soda and snack food, so the EMTs choose our hospital when delivering patients. If you get in a car accident and your insurance tries telling you that you have to, or that you should take your car to a specific repair facility to get repaired, tell them to go fist themselves. You have no obligation to any insurance company or repair facility. You can take your car to any body shop you like to have the repairs done, and it's against the law for insurance companies to tell you that you can't. However, they often use tricky wording to make you feel like you have no say, especially if you're a woman. Source: estimator and parts manager for a body shop. Customer service text chat can see what you're typing in the box before you hit send. Relative of mine was a mystery shopper and did a lot of car garages. He would get sent in with a car and had to get it serviced and reported on how well it was completed / if they found all the faults / if the customer service was up to scratch, etc. The results were usually 6/10 until suddenly every garage was a 10/10 continuously. He investigated as it was a bit suspicious and found my mystery shopper written on the bottom of the car he was. One of the garages sussed him out and wrote it there for future garages to find and make sure they have it the best possible service. TL: Doctor, write my mystery shopper on the bottom of your car when you get it serviced to ensure it gets the best service possible. Edit: this generally refers to large car garages such as Skoda and C to work on their own model cars for their customers. Going to your local mechanic round the corner. He isn't going to expect a mystery shopper anytime soon. It's more the corporate garages who hire Mrs. McGraw-Hill makes practically every textbook allowed in America's school. At the end of every year they throw away the tens of thousands of books for the tax write-off because it's going to a recycling plant. I'm talking textbook for K through 12, college books of every type, teacher editions, and class sets of short stories and books for kids in process of learning to read. A normal textbook costs a school $60 to $80 a pop, but they throw enough away to educate every child in Africa. When I worked at the recycling plant I wasn't allowed to take them because it was considered illegal to distribute them. I truly lost all hope for the future of humanity after that and quit my job. The place they're sent to is called Medina Recycling in Eni, Ohio. I seriously want to find a way to make this big news and trash McGraw-Hill over it. It is also a 2-month period that is Medina Recycling's largest contract for profit. Edit: sorry, the company name is McGraw-Hill. Edit 2: I know I said end of the month, but with a lot of new information coming to light, I realize that I can't do this sloppy, or it is either going to get me in trouble or it'll be swept under the rug. Probably going to get a Kickstarter going on this, so I can get around and talk to other schools and McGraw-Hill associates in the Tri-State area, along with creating a huge list of newspaper and media outlets to be notified all at the same time. This is going to be more work than previously thought. Please message me up if you can offer help. Edit 3: wow, my gold cherry just got popped, thank you, and had to remove evidence of incrimination, but it may be re-released once I talk to my lawyer tomorrow. In sofa/couch commercials they use smaller actors/models to make the sofa/couches look bigger. I attended a songwriting workshop at Berklee School of Music, and Anna Wise, Grammy-winning songwriter, Kendrick Lamar collaborator, told the audience during a presentation that whenever someone magically blows up on SoundCloud or YouTube, that it's not authentic. A label will sign the artist in secret and then suddenly boost their viewership tremendously to make it look like the independent artist did it on their own. I mentioned this in my post. Also, there are some clever tricks out there to make artists seem more independent than they are. The band Paramore was first signed to Atlantic, one of the biggest major labels ever, but their albums were released on indie label Fueled by Ramen in order to make them seem more punk or DIY. A bottle of Windex is basically 95% water, 4% ammonia, and 1% blue dye/fragrance. The most expensive part of the product is the bottle. The fresh chocolate chip cookie scent that can be smelled outside of the Magic Kingdom bakery is artificial. It's piped out there to draw you into the bakery. My sister was on The Biggest Loser. Jillian and Bob were there 2 maybe 3 days a week. They make it seem like they live there. Former Dunkin' employee here. We don't check the survey codes at the bottom of your receipt. Any random 5 digits in the space. You've got a free donut with purchase. At Subway, my manager never once bought real mayonnaise. The light mayo and the real mayo are both light mayo. Investigate those frickers. As call center employee, I can assure you that all of our calls are recorded not for training purposes, but to protect our own asses. Fair enough, but sometimes it also protects the customer. I had a dispute with AT&T over a DSL contract a number of years ago. I believe they changed the terms on me, and they said it verbally agreed to the changes. I told them I would happily abide by the new terms if they could play back the recording, if me agreeing to them. They called back the next day and released me from my contact. Patient confidentiality just means your name isn't in the story, not that your story won't get told. My grandmother used to work at a hospital and she would tell us all kinds of stories about the patients, although she did tell us that she would never give out names. Not sure if this is an industry practice, but a very popular online retail company in my country has no in-house web designers or any other IT staff beyond your generic networking techs. Anytime their website or backend systems need work, they simply advertise a permanent position and give the job of sorting out whatever they need done as a trial for the candidate. Once completed, they then inform them that the position is no longer available and send them on their way. They've been doing this for years. Edit. Well, that escalated quickly. Ever done an online insurance quote? That's just a slightly watered down version of what your insurance agent is working with. Seriously. We just put in the info and the computer spits out a price. Unless coverage or rating information changes, the price you get is what you get. 20 to 30 years ago, an agent could tell you how much different rating factors impacted the price, etc. Today's agents aren't privy to any of that information. TL. Doctor, insurance agents don't just pull a price out of their asses and hope you'll take it. The computer does that for us. If you have a Bank of America credit or debit card and your card gets declined, and you call and find out it was because of a data breach, the fraud department that you speak to is forced by the bank to tell you that they can't see where or when the data breach occurred, but we can see it. It shows us right there on our computer. It's really freaking annoying for everyone involved, other than the bank apparently, since they're the ones that enforce this. It's a major problem because your card gets completely shut off right there over the phone, and we have to send in a request to have a completely new card and card number sent to you. Then, you wait about 2 weeks to receive it in the mail and have to change everything you pay your bills onto the new card number. But if you go back to the store with that new card that had the data breach and they still haven't resolved the problem with the breach, then your card will be shut off again. Rinse and repeat. Please try not to get too angry at the people you talk to on the phone. They don't work at BOA. They're just lowly call center workers, and they're fired if tell you where it happened. The bank is saving their own ass to not piss off big companies that don't want that info to leak to the public. Edit. I didn't think this would actually get seen much. In case I go missing, BOA probably sent someone to kill me. It feels like it shouldn't be a secret, but a lot of people just don't get it. If you find yourself waiting forever to be seen in the air, that's probably a very good thing. We get the serious stuff back there pretty dang quick. Edit. For clarity's sake, a whole lot of pain doesn't automatically make something serious. A broken arm or something hurts like hell, but we're going to take the guy who's sweating and says his chest feels a little tight before you because he might be dying, and you definitely aren't. The more blood, the quicker you'll be SE. If you're actively bleeding all over the floor when you walk in, you'll probably be seen immediately. I walked into the ER the other day after cutting my foot pretty bad. I was losing blood pretty fast. Couldn't stop it, so I raced to the ER. The front desk lady didn't even look up and said, "Please fill out this form and take a seat." I said, "Mom, I'm bleeding everywhere. I can't stop it. Do you have any towels?" She very quickly jumped up and called a nurse for help. I was swiftly taken back and treated immediately, with several people in the waiting room. I still feel really bad about bleeding all over their pristine white floors. It was pretty gnarly. From a pharmacy perspective, most people don't understand how dietary supplements are regulated by the FDA. They are basically special food, not a drug. So you know all that safety and efficacy testing the FDA requires before a drug can even get to the market? Yeah, that doesn't happen with dietary supplements. They are held to a much lower safety standard than drugs. When do they get pulled off the shelves? When they are proven unsafe through use in the public. Also, they sometimes contain prescription ingredients. Libido-enhancing dietary supplements routinely are found to contain derivatives of sildenafil, Viagra and other similar drugs. That sounds great and all to some people, but many men seeking these unproven OTC enhancers are on nitrates for chest pain, which could prove to be a very significant drug interaction, causing a big drop in blood pressure from widespread vasodilation. Basically, dietary supplements aren't under the same scrutiny that drugs are, and most people think if it made it to the shelf it must be safe. That's not true. Your children tell us nearly everything about what goes on in your home. Source: preschool teacher. Thanks for all the upvotes and replies. Cracking up reading some of these. Melon Entertainments, the company that runs a wide variety of midway attractions like Legoland Discovery Centers as well as Legoland itself, pays most of their American employees less than Walmart. Oftentimes, employees love the job, but ultimately can't afford to keep it. This causes only a 90% turnover rate. Not in the casino industry, but I'm in the fire service and we learn things like this. Casinos will pump an extra 1% of oxygen into the air to make you more alert and give you more energy, which allows you to stay there longer and spend more money. It's also the reason casino fires can be so catastrophic. Security guards are underpaid and usually undertrained. That guy standing in front of the bank with the shiny gun. The guy some of you might expect to protect you if you're being robbed. He makes about $1 or $2 more than minimum wage, depending on what city you're in. The contracts for these jobs are insane. Sometimes it's hundreds of dollars per hour per guard. The actual person on the ground, in an industry that has very little overhead, makes very little money. Midway games at carnivals or fairs purposely let people win early on in the day. This way people carry around the prizes and advertise them for the rest of the day. Edit. Guess I should mention I volunteered at my local fair for several years. Record labels and producers sometimes use ghost vocalists for pop stars who really can't sing. Ghost vocalists are like singing impressionists who come into the studio and re-sing the song in the style of the pop star, but better. Often the pop stars in question don't even know that their vocals have been replaced. Oh, and, for the record, no pun, terrible singers can't be fixed with auto-tune. It is only used to polish slightly untidy vocals. This is why ghost vocalists are used. Printer ink cartridges are meant to signal that they're empty after a certain number of pages, even if they still have some ink left. God damn it, all that ink I wasted. I work in the trucking industry and it's frightening how much food product is sold and resold after being rejected. Had a customer have a load of cheese refuse because it was too warm, but took it back to another warehouse, cooled it down, and resold it to another customer. I have seen it done with cheese, juice, meat and seafood. Only seen it done about 4 to 5 times out of 10,000 plus loads I have moved, but that is still too high. A lot of people probably know that when a TV show goes into syndication, that some scenes will be cut from episodes to make them slightly shorter, to fit in more commercials. What people don't know is that the show can be slightly sped up as well, to squeeze in just a little more advertising. Nothing but cakes is not made with natural ingredients or fresh every day. They can be kept frozen for a few weeks and our eggs come out of a giant bag, premixed. You do not even want to know how much red 40 dye goes into that damn red velvet cake. The reason it always tells you to turn it off and on again isn't because we get paid by the powersicle. It's because it fixes your issue 95% of the time. You don't need a lawyer or legal service site to set up a corporation or LLC. Just register with the Secretary of State's office for the state you want to incorporate in and pay a low fee, usually around $25. People pay too much thinking setting one up is harder and more complicated than it is. Professional BBQ competitor here. All those world famous, secret recipe BBQ rubs and sauces are 99% the same, and you can make bucketfuls of them yourself for 1/10 the money and never notice the difference. So when a BBQ person brags about how their rub is a family secret, it's a wheelbarrow full of brown sugar, salt, paprika, chili powder, cumin, and garlic powder, and then a teaspoon here and there of something like cayenne or long peppercorns or something else you probably couldn't identify in a test if your life depended on it. As a pilot, I discovered that some low-cost airline companies will set the humidity on the yak to a lower value than normal, to just the minimum legal value. This will make you more thirsty and more likely to buy drinks or water at their absurdly high prices. Ryanair is known to do this. A few things about auto and home insurance. 1. After a claim, your settlement amount is always negotiable. You don't have to accept the first number they give you. A good adjuster is someone who can get customers to accept low payouts. I once heard a co-worker say about an adjuster, she was so good. She was a total beach, but she could get someone to accept $500 for their dead kid. 2. Complain. Even it's your fault, doesn't matter. Most effective methods are social media, email CEO, Attorney General or Department of Insurance. All these get high priority. A good 70%, 80% of the time, will give you what you want just to shut you up and be able to report that the issue is resolved. 3. Not so much a secret, but worth mentioning. Insurance companies are regulated to death. Every single thing has to be approved by the Department of Insurance. Your policy, every letter you receive, your premium, your discounts, all of it. All states have different, ever-evolving, and often contradictory regulations. And insurance workers, for the most part, are random people using outdated systems who barely care and just want to meet whatever metrics they have to, so they don't get fired.